Good afternoon, Rod. So thank you for bringing this project and this opportunity, to me, because this has been something it's been really cool to get immersed in. It's such an interesting concept. And one of the key words that really stood out to me that you mentioned, which I don't think has actually been included in following details, is this idea of social supermarket. When I heard that, what you're doing clicked into my mind straight away. Like, I already knew what this could be, what this is, and what it can do. So I want to hold on to those words for a second, that social supermarket, because I think there's a lot of power in that. Because ultimately what we're here to do today, we're going to delve into some of the creative choices, the reasons why we're doing this, and some of the ways that we can articulate this so people instantly get it. I think there is something powerful about social supermarket, and I'd like to circle back around to that at some point. But what we're going to do now is we're just going to dive into some of these details. I provided a PDF that gives you, more detail and how it comes together. The purpose of this first proof is not necessarily to lock in or to visualize the complete branding, the complete colors, and how it's going to look in the retail space, how it's going to look on socials. What we're trying to do today is just to ascertain and identify the shape and making sure this logo is going in the right direction. Once we've got that solidified, then we go to the next step of, applying the colors, how it works on social platforms and so on. So today we're just focusing on the shape and making sure that it communicates the right thing. This is the foundation of what we're doing, and I think it looks pretty cool. So let's dive into this now. Like all things, having a reason why makes the creative choices not just more cohesive, but it's making sure that we're communicating the right thing. So when I hear about a social supermarket and then sort of a non-profit spin to it, there's a lot of good feelings that arise from this, about the community, about doing something that it's very useful and it's needed, especially in today's world. But there can be a trade-off where everything feels like a charity. And not charity in the bad, but charity in the sense of it might lack the legitimacy of like an IGA or the legitimacy of a Coles. Not to say that we want to be a Coles or necessarily an IGA, but I believe there has to be a vicinity to that. Otherwise it can just undermine the credibility, in my opinion, that is. So some of the words I've identified based on your list and come up with my own, perceptions are good vibes. So this place shouldn't feel like it's going to a charity. It should feel like a place that makes you feel good. If you're in a dark place or a little bit sad or whatever life is happening to you, this place should, make you feel good for coming in. And one of the key words that you mentioned was dignity. I think dignity, how do we achieve that? I think it's by making people feel good. A lot of this can come through the imagery. A lot of it come through the choices that we have in the spaces. The learning experience of this. So look at IGA. Their advertising, their marketing is very passive. It's about this product's on sale for this price by this date. Come get it. We have a different opportunity we can do here is we're not just selling products. We're selling, the how and the why to use our product, things around health, clean eating, helping people to make the right decisions and a healthy freedom. So I think this is tailored on that. It's not just about, I think living a good life first starts with feeling good. Feeling good starts with making the right healthy choices. And so in a lot of how we communicate, the reasons why we exist, it should be promoting not just good health, but a healthy freedom. And so what I like about these is now we take these and we can use these as sort of keys to help align our creative decisions from here. So I'm just in the working file at the moment, but I want to go through this in this format. So here are the options that are put together around this, as you can see here. Now, they're quite similar, but different in their own right. And what I wanted to convey is acknowledging what we're doing. So this is a community. It is a non-profit. So it should have a feel like that. But again, we want to keep it in the realms of it still needs to feel credible. It still needs to feel like a legitimate supermarket, which it absolutely is. It has a different agenda and a different place in the world that's not currently met. So what you'll see in some of these designs is a very flowing, very fluid, very welcoming, and a good vibe, essentially. But what you also see is very strong lines, and this is to help give it a visual strength, but to sort of let people know that this place is, it's rock solid. And so that's how we get that flow and that movement that to invite people in. What else can I say about these? I think they pretty much speak for themselves. Also, some of the choices behind these is what's going to look noticeable at a distance, what's going to play well over campaign materials, and also what's going to work put into social media. So I guess this subline, I've gone with a community grocer rather than community grocer and cafe. I think that will come out through communications and marketing. I don't think it necessarily needs to be in the logo, in the title. I think what you want to lead with is that community grocer, which I quite like. There's also an opportunity there to sub-brands the cafe. Again, once we can see the setup and see what logistically makes sense, but there's no reason why the cafe can't have its own identity as well. So I quite like these. They're very fluid. They're very strong. I think they work in both spaces. I think they work in the non-profit, but I think they can link themselves into a modern and a contemporary twist on the supermarket branding. But one I want to zoom in onto before we wrap this up is this last point. Now, from my experience and just from my own intuition, when you said social supermarket, that resonated very strong. It seemed like something so obvious and something that I hadn't heard before, but I instantly understood what you were trying to do. So I actually think that I know that, the trading name is the Life Community Grocer and Cafe, or a variation of, but I think there's actually something really interesting in this space around this social supermarket. Because what I like about it, the word social supermarket, is it removes the stigma of, I can't afford groceries this week. I'm going to have to go to, quote unquote, a charity. But when I hear a social supermarket, it feels like, no, I'm going to be a part of this community that is there to support me and support each other. We're all here supporting one another together. So I think it's leaning into what you're doing, and it's not trying to disguise it. And this is only my opinion, but it's not trying to disguise it or sort of bury the lead. It's saying, hey, this is what we do. We are here to be social. We're here for the social value, to address social concerns and to be part of society, integrate into society. So how I've done this is, to me, this feels very strong, very modern and contemporary, but also a statement. Because every time I think about Coles or Woolworths, I think about them begrudgingly, that they're either trying to make my life worse, make things more expensive, and it's just a terrible place to be. What's the opposite of that? Hey, a social supermarket's the opposite of that, but that's what's really interesting to me. So just to briefly go through that logo, we've got a little smiley face there, and that's an L, sort of a cursive L forming a face, which I think can play really well in social media just as an icon by itself. We've still got the name in there, even called the Life Social Supermarket. I think that says a statement right there, a very strong statement. So personally, and with my experience and my intuition, I'm going that way. I understand there are more factors to this. You've got other stakeholders and I get that. So there's a couple of options there for you. I think the fluid look is the best approach for what we're trying to achieve. I personally think, and I'm just going to restate that I think social supermarket is the bolder place to be, and I think it's going to stand out the most. It's going to give people something to talk about. It's going to, provide a juxtaposition and a contrast to these supermarket brands. And another way to unpack this is what Life is representing. The Life Community Grocer it's the anti Woolworths. It's the anti-Coles. It's everything that sucks about them is at this place. So that's where I think it measures and balances out really well to what the problem is. Affordability of these big giants. So they're just a couple of my thoughts. So have a look through the PDF. Again, this is not a full mock-up of the brand. This is really just to set the scene and to get like a good feel for that shape. Is it going in the right direction? The next steps will be to build that brand out, like those colors, and to get some templates working for social and so on. So thank you for your time. I've really enjoyed working on this project so far, and it's a really cool thing that you're doing, and I'm really stoked to be part of it. So we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you. Thanks.